Hello, my name is Jay. I'm an engineer by trade and consider myself to be rather practical. It's not an easy task raising children these days, and certainly one of the things that is not exclusive to a mother's world is changing your child's diapers. It seems to me this is an expense that is really a hardship for many families. And if there's a better economical solution and a better environmental one, I'm all up for that. I hate to be throwing away money when I can use it to spend bringing up my family. I've just got back from a trip to the supermarket and decided to get some samples to do a fair test between some of these national brands like Huggies, Pampers, and a new Chinese one I discovered called Daddy's Choice. So let's see what these are about. First of all, I'm not so sure this is so easy to open. Not too easy. So here you have Huggies, which I'll call diaper number 1. Place this right here. Second one, Pampers. Both of these bought at the local supermarket. Number 2. And this new interesting brand, Daddy's Choice. One thing I do like, this has built-in handles, make it a little bit easier to carry. And I kind of like the cleaner look of this package, use of less dyes, and a more environmentally friendly. So let's see what this is here. Well, this is a pleasant surprise. Taking these out is pretty simple. It looks the same as the other guys. Feels really nice. And less colorful ink compared to the other ones. Probably more cost effective. Okay, in an effort to try to make this a fair test, we measured out 3 identical quantities of blue tinted water. Here we have 250 milliliters of liquid. To compare, I'm going to pour this into this 3rd cup. And now what we're going to do is we're going to pour these 3 samples of liquid on these 3 diapers and see how they stack up. So here we go. Not an easy task. Okay. Now what we're noticing is on some diapers you actually see the blue liquid being absorbed into the lower layer. Actually, the one that's absorbing fastest so far is Daddy's Choice brand, followed closely by Huggies, and then followed by Pampers. But you should be able to see that these 2 brands are starting to swell up more quickly. We're going to do a close-up now of each brand so you can see the effect. We first started with Daddy's Choice, followed now with Pampers, and finally Huggies brand. So let's see what we have. I'm going to take a simple piece of paper towel and pat the center. See if we discover any liquid. First thing I want to see is what these feel like. What are the differences between them? So on the Huggies, it feels relatively dry, but rather hard. Pampers, even more hard and puffy. I don't think this would necessarily be comfortable. And you can see on the edges here of the Pampers, there's actually a little moisture on it. The Daddy's Choice, definitely much flatter and softer than these two. I think the Pampers, which was probably the original brand, is much harder and uncomfortable. Followed second, I feel, by the Huggies, and certainly the thinnest. I hope you can see this in the film, but certainly this is the flattest, and I think the Daddy's Choice is more dry of the other two national brands. So that's very encouraging. So here we go. We're starting with Daddy's Choice first. I'm pouring this liquid on, maybe even a little bit more faster and furious than if a child is actually urinating. But let's see what happens. Here we go. Okay, so we're approximately 27 seconds into this, and if you look close, you will see that the liquid is already absorbing into the lower layers because it's turning white on the surface, and it's doing a good job absorbing the liquid. I'm going to let this run for 60 seconds so we can get an idea what might happen in real time. And we're just about there. Okay, now if I touch this, you'll see that my hand is dry. So it has done a good job capturing the liquid inside. Again, this is Daddy's Choice brand. Okay, here we go. Same test. This time we're using the Huggies diaper. I'm putting the same 250 milliliters of water on a diaper for a minute. Now, it absorbs a little bit slower for the same amount of elapsed time as Daddy's Choice. And you see it now, it's finally absorbing the liquid. But what it's also doing, it is getting large and swollen, especially in the center where I poured more of the majority of the liquid. A few seconds here to go. Okay, I'm going to touch the surface. On the edges here, there's a little bit of moisture. I don't know if you can maybe see that on my thumb. There's a little bit of moisture. It's a puffier, stiffer feel than the Daddy's Choice diaper was, especially in the center where it bulged up very quickly. So next we will test Pampers brand in just a moment. Okay, there we go. Now we're putting the liquid sample, the same 250 ml, into the Pampers brand. Trying to be fair. covering and applying this. One interesting I can see already is that the water runs off the surface of the pamper and doesn't absorb into the center as quickly. You can see compared to the other two, it's not as fast turning white on the surface of the diaper, so it actually looks like it's a little more wet. We have another 15 seconds to make some conclusions here. 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's it. Okay, so again, feeling this unit. This unit is definitely much denser and harder than the others. I'm not trying to disturb this too much. But also there's a little bit of moisture, maybe hard to see. There's a little moisture on this, and it's about the same as the Huggies we just tested previously. Okay, well, I've spent a lot of time and effort to try to get a good understanding what are these products really about. First impression, obviously, it's much better using these in general and boil them the old-fashioned way. But there's a couple of interesting things that occurred. On the Daddy's Choice diapers, no question, they stayed pretty flat. They feel really soft. I think they're more environmentally friendly because they use far less ink and less plastics. And personally, this one feels pretty good to touch, even wet. Does not feel like it's full of liquid. The ones you'll see here on the table, some of them appear more white, which I believe were the earlier ones we first tested where the dye kind of absorbed more thoroughly. Center ones here, which were the Pampers, they got very hard. They lost a lot of elasticity, but really what's interesting is, let's see if I can show you this, the product actually sags in the bag like it's a sack. And that I find very curious. So it shifts around, and then you have no protection in the top portion. You have one big lump in the bottom. And that was the case also with these other 4 or 5 samples. Here, the Pampers. You shake it, you see the same story, actually even worse. The product sags down. There's nothing here, it's my hand reflection inside the product, and then it becomes one large lump here in the lower portion. I've tested approximately 10 diapers so far from each brand, and really, for the cost, the environmental impact, and what I feel is a good absorbing diaper with less artificial ingredients, chemicals, and polymers in it, definitely there is an advantage to this Daddy's Choice brand. I think when I have it here, I might actually use them when I have more kids. I appreciate your time. I hope you found this informative in our effort to try to do a fair test. Thank you, and have a good day.